Hey, that's my guy Steve Walsh would say when we're on the red eye. Welcome to the pregame cheat sheet. I'm Darren Smith along with Steve Walsh, who's live at in Nashville. Steve, what's going on with you this morning?
Not much, man. Beautiful weather here in Nashville. It's about 55 degrees, sun shining, shining, and I think it's gonna be a good day for some football.
Yeah, we were talking this morning before we came on the air. You was telling me it was a good thing I didn't drive because obviously there's nothing to play for except for pride. And it's a long drive to and fro. But this game, of course, features the Kansas City Chiefs at 6-8 and freshly eliminated from postseason play traveling to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans at Nissan Stadium. Kickoff is at 12 noon. Steve, initial thoughts on this matchup? Chiefs come in 6-8. The Tennessee Titans with the worst record in the NFL right now, at 2-12, sitting at the top of the NFL draft board.
And you mentioned having nothing to play for. I mean, this is one of those pride games, man, where you got a bunch of guys that are running around. That some guys that are coming back, and then some guys that will be, of course, looking for employment next season.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is one of those games where you either want to put good film on tape or you're coming back. So it's like, all right, I'm just kind of going to go through the motions. And so I think this is going to be kind of a tale of two types of player, I guess, as you could say. Because I mean, you got guys like Xavier Worthy, like um, um, Travis Kelsey, and guys like that who are pretty solidified. Of course, Travis may or may not come back, but then you got some other guys as well that are just like I'm just here so I don't get fined, right?
Right.
So it's still an opportunity for these guys to put some good film on tape. And as I'm looking out on the field right now, I see Chris Jones has all the defensive guys in a huddle, and kind of hyping those guys up. So guys like that, George Karlaftis and guys that have contracts to be back here next year, it's still going to be one of those games where it's all right. I'm playing for pride, but also I'm playing for you know. You don't want to. You always talk about just the injury portion of it. It's like
We'll
if you
get to
think if you think
that.
about yeah, if you think about injury stuff like that, I know we'll get to it, but it's kind of some of those guys are going to be thinking about that.
Yeah, look, what I've always said that I would hope is I want to get an idea. I want to get an idea on how the players, especially the younger players, how they react. Because they haven't been through this type of adversity with the Chiefs, especially first time with them being eliminated. So, I want to see how they perform after being freshly eliminated last week and see what they put out effort wise, as you said, on tape. In today's game, because there will be players who will not be back this offseason. And look, I don't know if you want to jump into it right now as it relates to the injuries, but I know for the inactives for Kansas City today, of course, we talked about earlier this week. Trent McDuffie is out. Rasheed Rice, Tyquan Thornton, they're both out. Jalen Moore is out. Running back Davian Pierce is out, along with C.J. Hansen and Derek Notty. Those are all the inactives for the Chiefs today. That's even accounting for the injuries that they have. So, shockingly, Steve, they're still 3.5 point favorites. Why do you think that is?
I mean, it's still the Chiefs. I mean, you still have those same guys, except Patrick Mahomes and Rasheed Rice.
Yeah, but
But I mean,
that's a big gap, though.
yeah, but you're going up against a team that's only won two games, and so that's on paper. There still is a much better team now. Is Cam Ward a better quarterback than Gardner Minshew? I would say yes. But it's still, you gotta look at it as this is still the same defense minus Trent McDuffie, right? So they still got a Cam. They still have to be able to put points on the board. Um, so with that being said, I just think that it's still on paper it's a much better team.
Looking at this matchup, Steve, Andy Reid, well, the Chiefs lead the all-time series 28-24. Kansas City in the postseason leads the series 3-1. Of course, nothing bigger than in 2019. When they were pursuing their run to their second Super Bowl in franchise history. But coming into this game, the Titans are led by Cam Ward. He was the number one overall pick. He's thrown 11 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. But as you mentioned, Gardner Minshew, he's only played a few snaps for the team, of course. did last week after Mahomes suffered it 3 of 5 for 22 passes and interception. What are you expecting from Minshew in today's game?
I mean, he's one of those guys that wants to put something good on tape. He would want nothing better than to have a win here with him playing well, no mistakes, and him leading this team. No stall drives. Uh, I mean, if he can come down and put a couple scores on the board, no turnovers, I would say, he's still looking to whether it's back here next year because you got to remember Patrick Mahomes isn't guaranteed to be able to play Week 1. So they're going to be in this Chiefs team is going to be in the market for a quarterback, kind of a stopgap, if you will. And so he's definitely he's trying out for this team and he's trying out for the other teams in the league, whether it's a backup or it's a starting role. And so he's one of those guys that wants to come out here and play well. And
Of
and, and
course,
and look, he's going to have the arsenal to be able to do it. I mean, minus Rasheed Rice, he has everybody else available.
that's still a big minus when you look at it. I mean, of course, you got Xavier Worthy. Perhaps he should have a decent game today.
You got
Gardner Minshew.
Hollywood.
Yeah, I was gonna get to Hollywood. Do we see the debut of Jalen Royals today? I guess that's the question that I'm curious about having answered.
I mean, for the debut, I mean, he's played a couple games this season already. Um,
Well,
but I
it,
mean, I,
it,
I
it's
think
hard
you
to
have
tell
to,
because you don't see him.
yeah,
You
yeah.
don't see
I
him
think
register.
you have to get him some passes, get him some reps, because I mean, these games mean nothing, right? At the end of the day, you just kind of like we said, playing for pride. You got two teams that aren't in the playoffs, and you got to get your young guys some reps, some live reps, see what they can do. Otherwise, it's kind of like, are we going to stick with this dude, or are we going to move on? So, what better time than to do it right now?
And of course, I am here at the gates off of near the stadium, off of 40 Highway. So if you want to come up here and join me, I'll be sticking around to watch the game. And of course, post game, we'll bring you live coverage of the press conference between with Andy Reid and Gardner Minshew and probably Chris Jones as well. Steve, you talked about the weather out there, weather being good. What are you looking forward to? I mean, so when we look at this, when we look at this Chiefs team, they've had a lot of ups and downs, and they've been beaten by teams that we normally would not expect them to lose to. Do you see a scenario where if they don't take care of business, this could end up like Jacksonville, where you have a lead and somehow, some way, because Cam Ward and this team they have been able to put drives together. They have been able to score points, and that's something that the Chiefs have been lacking a lot lately. Look, we talk about how bad Titans are, but they still been able to add points and put points on the scoreboard. And if you're not careful, they can't beat this Chiefs squad that doesn't have their starting quarterback.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, they put up 24 last week. They put up 31 against the Browns. They put up 24 against the Seahawks. I mean, they put up some points, 20 against the Chargers. So it's some points they put up whether they haven't been able to close out games. And I just feel like they have been they've just struggled in the fourth quarter, if that makes sense. And you got, I mean,
Well,
you got a
they've
young
also
guy that
they've also struggled between the second and third quarter too, not been able to put points on the board.
true, and you got a young guy that's still learning how to win. I mean, that's kind of the growing pains that you're going to have with a young quarterback. You just got to figure it out. Like it just we've kind of been on that end of the spectrum where our the Chiefs starting quarterback, even I mean Patrick Mahomes as a young guy was able to figure out how to win close games, right? Like not all quarterbacks are supposed to be able to do that. Like yeah, as a young guy coming into the league, those close games you got to figure out how to do it. You got to learn that. It's just been kind of unfortunate for Cam Ward. He hasn't been able to do that quite yet.
Pregame cheat sheet today. Darren Smith along with Steve Walls. Steve Walls is at Nissan Stadium in the press box. So I am, of course, the gates off of 40 Highway near the football stadium. If you want to stop in, please do so. Got a lot of good stuff for people. If you want to stop by and try that Bernie Mac, they have that ready to go, along with a lot of great food here at Gates. Steve, this matchup here, of course, for the Titans, they don't benefit at all by winning the game. Not to say that they're looking to throw the game, because I don't think that any professional athlete is looking to do that. But of course, if they were to win, they would drop out of first place as it relates to the NFL draft. So, what do you feel like? I mean, are they playing for pride? I mean, now the organization might be open to lose, but of course, the players are going to try to win. How do you see this scenario playing off if you're on the Tennessee Titans side? Because if you can't Ward, you want that trophy on your mantle and beating the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, granted, you don't have Mahomes there, but the Chiefs are still the defending AFC champions right now. So if you're Cam Ward, if you can get a win underneath your belt, you want to do that. But if you're the organization, you probably want to continue to lose, because if you got the number one pick, you're not looking for a quarterback, but you can use that position to get a nice draft haul.
That's always an interesting spot to be in. Um, with a team that, like we said, where they can put up points. Cam Wood, of course, wants to win. A lot of these guys want to come out here and put good film on tape.
And
Like
Cam,
you
hey,
said.
and
So
Cam has been very vocal. Cam has been very vocal about this offense and this organization stuff, and how they've played. So he's not afraid to come out and talk about just how bad they've been playing and stuff. So
yeah, and so like I said, you just it's one of them situations where it's like, man, as an owner, as president, general manager, I don't care. Like, I mean, I care to a simple fact. I want to see how my guys do, but I like them to lose. If I'm ownership here for the Tennessee Titans, if we are, like you said, in the running for the number one pick in this year's draft, I would much rather have that number one pick, right? And I think they may
mhm.
have some other picks as well. So it it's kind of a tale of two halves or two stories. Like, you got the players that want to play and win, and you got the ownership group that's kind of just like, hey, I mean, go out there and play, but don't win the game. That's kind of tough to do. That's a tough situation to be in.
Chiefs are 6-8. Kickoff is at the top of the hour in less than 30 minutes. Of course, you can watch the game on CBS. Steve, I mean, look at this matchup. Andy Reid. I've been telling people that you know, he might have to pull out the. We see Brett Veach behind you. Is Andy Reid going to dust off the whole Alex Smith playbook, or do you think he's going to continue coaching as if he had Patrick Mahomes there? But to an extent, he's not going to obviously call too many run plays or too many RPOs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you scrap things. I think you kind of still continue on doing what you do. 'Cause I mean, because once you start scrapping things, it's kind of like, I mean, you still have everybody else that's there that knows the offense. That's why you have kind of a plug and play situation where, even though QB1's not there, you're still able to continue to run the same things that you would do. Now, granted, there's going to be some. There's one caveat to that. He's not Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, he's not
Yeah.
going to be able to do some of the things that 15 does. But he should still be able to run, most of the same things.
One of the things that I hope to see, and I don't know where you lie on this, is I like to see the Chiefs kind of run the football a lot more. Because one, to me, you kind of want to protect Minshew so he doesn't have as many. You don't have a quick turnover like he did in last week's game against the Chargers. I mean, do you foresee them possibly using Kareem and Pacheco a lot today?
Yeah, yeah, I think, dude. I honestly, I had Pacheco down for anytime TD. So, I think, I think, and
Boy,
granted
that's
too,
when you're a gambler,
they
all right.
hear, yeah, I think they hear it, man. It's kind of one of them things too. It's like, man, this team hasn't been able to run the ball. So what are we going to go out there and try to do? If I'm the guy that you're talking about, or guys that you're talking about, so yeah, for sure, I think that they're gonna have some take some pride in that in these next few games, because you got to remember, he's on his contract is up, Pacheco, so he's gonna want to make sure that he puts some good things out there as well.
Before we get into our X factors, man, let's look at the defensive side of football. You talked about Chris Jones,
Mhm.
gathering the players out there midfield and just trying to get them together, trying to get them hype. How much pressure, if any, do you feel like someone like he is under, with the team being eliminated, and of course how you finish off the season? What do you expect from Chris Jones and the defense today?
I mean, external pressure, I think a lot, but internally, man, they really still playing with house money. So that being said, I just don't. And you can just tell by just kind of the emotion of it. Now, granted, we talk about them not making the playoffs this year. However, they played a lot of football over these last few years and been very successful.
A lot.
So, yeah, so it's like, you know, it just really it just is what it is. Sometimes now you can just kind of go back to the not back to the drawing board, but you kind of go just retool, like everyone's been saying. And I think he understands that it's a tough pill to swallow at the same time, but I feel like he understands it more than anybody else.
I'll be honest, man. I think the biggest thing, man, for me when I look at this defense, man, is that they just got to put all the pieces together because of the rash of injuries. This is obviously a good time for backup players and second string players to put some, like you look like you're mentioning, putting stuff on film. But you also want to see, just again, I want to see how they step up, man, with this adversity because they haven't had to deal with it. I mean,
True,
they
true.
don't, I mean, they just don't know what it's like, and so I want to see mentally how they prepared, how they gotten gotten to this point. I just want to see how they come out and if they just leave everything out there on the field. I mean, I want to see them play with some passion and with some heart, especially when you're going up against the worst team in the league. And, they have, I mean, the only thing they have to play for is draft position. But if you're the Chiefs, and you're these players, I just want to say you come out and play. Look, let's jump into our X factors because we got about 8 minutes before you have to, for it to have to get ready to go. But offensively, who is the X factor for you in today's ball game? Because I know it's not going to be the same as mine this time around, and you can't say Patrick Mahomes, thankfully.
No, no, no. I'm going to say Travis Kelsey, just because he talked on Friday. He's the leader of the team. He's the other leader on this team other than Mahomes. So I would definitely say him.
I would. Well, normally I'd say my mom since she's watching. She's my X factor because I know she's going to make sure we eating good on Christmas before the game. Um, be honestly, I'm gonna go with Matt Nagy, and the reason why I say Matt Nagy because Diana Rossini for the umpteenth time has put his name out there as though he's a is as though he's a hot name for a head coaching spot in the NFL. He
Hmm.
doesn't have his contract expires at the end of the season, so he'll be a free agent. So it's not like the Chiefs have to fire him or anything like that. But of course, we also know that the former assistant GM is the GM for the Tennessee Titans. So perhaps, saying if you well, first of all, I'm always thinking like he hasn't done anything this year that would say, yeah, I need that guy to be running my team and running my offense. But be that as it may, his name is still bandied out there. So if this is a position, this is a head coaching position that has an opening in the Tennessee Titans. If I'm at Nagy, I'm trying to show what I can. And it's interesting. If I'm at Nagy, I want to show what I can do with Gardner Minshew and quarterback
Mm.
versus Patrick Mahomes because if you got Patrick Mahomes, everybody said it was easy because you got Patrick Mahomes. But let me see
True.
let me see how you do offensively with a Gardner Minshew. Now, if you can come out and put some points on the board with Minshew and the team wins and they look impressive, especially when they don't have, what I would say with all the injuries that they have and the inactives, I would still say that right now, that these teams are probably on the same level talent wise. Now, granted, it would still lean more
Hmm.
so. Hold on, see, no, 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 no. It would still lean more so the Chiefs. What I'm saying because of Worthy and how, but what I'm saying is, but with the number of players that are injured that are out in today's game, there's a reason why they went from 11.5 point favorites down to 3.5 point favorites. So I mean, so that 8 points makes a huge difference. And so I want to see Matt Nagy be able to coach, through Andy Reid, of course, coach the offense up, be able to put points on the board because it lets me know that even if you don't have the requisite talent, that you can still come out and do a good job. So if by chance you get hired on with Tennessee, Well, now we got a chance to see what you can do with all the capital that they have. And Tennessee has, I think, almost $200 million. Well, no, they have almost 100 million dollars available in cap space where they could,
Hmm.
where they can get players to come to. So,
You gotta want to come here though.
uh,
I said you have to want to come to
well,
Tennessee.
here's
Yeah.
the thing: people don't like to come to Cleveland, but they overpay them. So that's the thing; they
Oh
overpay
well.
folk. So
Yeah.
and you can do,
Get
and
what you
and,
pay
and,
for.
and look, and as you talked about, Nashville, we talked about it before we got on. The stadium, new stadium being built, they will get a Super Bowl here
Hmm.
in Nashville. So I mean, so there's a lot of things, So, I mean, and the weather's decent. Here it is in December, and you said it's 50 some degrees out there. So that's another thing to look at as well. The X factor for you defensively today.
Mm. Um, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the cornerbacks, man. I mean, you got Trent that's still out. You still have Jalen Watson, who is a guy that has to be a leader on the back end, and then you got the safeties too that have kind of struggled a little bit and had their ups and downs. A guy like Jaden Hicks, there's been some questions about him, and his improvement. So I'm gonna say the defensive backs.
Yeah, I would have probably gone in that direction too, but I'm gonna say the linebackers. I want to see what they do up against Tony Pollard,
Okay.
who's their running back. Obviously, Leo Chenal is out for the remaining games. And shout out to Leo. He's on the injury reserve for the rest of the season, along with Jawan Taylor. So this, we might have seen the last of them in last week's game against the Chargers. Well, um, Jawan was out last week, but to that point, I want to see how Tranquil. I want to see how Bolden. I just want to see how these. I just want, man, it's fine. I just defense in general. I just want to just see how they had to just how these players react, man, to not being in the playoffs. I want to make sure that they're still playing hard. Now, obviously, some players, depending on what their contract situation look like, could be playing for bonuses or stats or things that incentives. I'm not really sure because it hasn't really been talked about this year because
Yeah.
Chris Jones, they defensively, I think their stats have been kind of down. So we'll have to wait and see how that unfolds. But that to me is what I want to see. And again, Spags still wants to be a head coach, and
True.
essentially they still have a top 10 defense and a top 10, top 5 scoring defense as well. So I just want to see if Spags can get in his bag and coach a lot of these backup players up today. So that's what I want to see.
Of course. Of
Uh,
course. I definitely agree.
Prediction for you for today's game. How are we
Ooh.
looking?
Um. Hmm.
Because it's funny because and I'll go before you. So I remember Monday we might have uh I can't remember if I went with the Titans or not. So I know in the pocket this week I did have the Titans winning, but more and more because I feel like that they feel the organization kind of is going to try to put the thumb on the scale.
Hmm.
I see Kansas City win this game, and again, I go back to Nagy wanting to, using this as an opportunity as a job interview. So
I
I
agree.
think it's gonna be much closer. I think it's gonna be a low scoring game. I'm gonna say 17-14 Chiefs.
I'm gonna go 21-14.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with that. Before we get out of here, Steve, you want to thank your sponsors before
Yeah.
we hit
It's
it up?
my friends over at Dillard's on the Rosa. Make sure you go check them out. You still have some opportunities to get some things ready for Christmas. Go over there and check them out. Dillard's located as on the Rosa.
And also, I'd be remiss to say, good job on the toy driving stuff at the Negro Leagues yesterday. I know you had Bob Kendrick on there, so talk briefly about it if you would.
Oh yeah! Shout out to all the families that brought their kids down to the Cookies with Santa, the inaugural Cookies with Santa over at the Negro Leagues Museum. It was a great time. Of course, we had the music. We had kids that were able to get cookies, take photos with Santa. They were able to get gifts as well. So it's gonna grow next year. So it was definitely a fun time on Saturday.
All right, and so as usual, I want to thank Todd White, Todd's Clothiers. Taylor Suits, along with Gates Barbecue. Again, Gates Barbecue is located at 5 metro locations around Kansas City. Join me today from noon to 3 up here off of 40 Highway. I'll be enjoying the game. And of course, post game, we'll be bringing you Andy Reid and Gardner Minshew and probably Chris Jones interviews for our post game show. Join us tomorrow night from 6:30 to 7:30. Myself, Steve Walls, DJ Q, and Sean Tyler as we present the Red Hour. 6:30, 7:30. We'll recap today's game, and of course, we only have 2 days, 2 or 3 days before the next game, which will be Thursday night, Christmas night, that you can watch on Amazon Prime. So you can join Steve Walls and myself on Christmas night at 6:30 as we present you the pregame cheat sheet, and for the 2 or 3 fans that'll be out there with us at the stadium, we'll we definitely appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. So for Steve Walls, you can follow him at Steve Walls KC. Follow me at Darren Smith NFL. Thank you so much. Go Chiefs. We'll see you tomorrow on the Red Hour.